Hey cuties, Courtney here of Color Me Courtney, and welcome back to my channel. Wait, hold it. This is not my YouTube channel. This is LaterCon. Welcome to LaterCon. Today I'm going to be giving you a discussion on how to grow your audience and how to build your brand. Truthfully, I was only supposed to speak to growing your audience, but I think these two go hand in hand, so we're going to cover them both. So like I said, I'm Courtney and I run the blog Color Me Courtney. It is a website, a YouTube page, an Instagram channel. I have a second Instagram channel, an email subscription, all the things, but essentially Color Me Courtney is a bright spot on the web or in your phone where I inspire everyone to wear color, have a more positive outlook, and hopefully be a little bit more comfortable and confident in their own skin. I cover everything from culture to fashion, and I just string color along in between there. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I built my brand and how I continue to grow my community. I'll be sharing all my tips and tricks because I want you guys to grow and be successful too. To start, let's talk about brand building. So for me, I have 5 key pillars that are really the core of Color Me Courtney. Different boxes, like color is a box for me, fashion is a box, confidence, and the list goes on. And I make sure that everything I do from a branding perspective checks one of these boxes. Truthfully, I really like it to check 3 of them, but if it's not checking any of those boxes, it doesn't belong on my page. And this has kind of helped me create a really clear brand focus when I'm creating content and continuing to share it. As a result, trends will come and go, but I really want to stay true to my brand focus. And I would encourage you guys to do the same, to find 5 key pillars that are true to your brand and true to your ethos, and making sure that everything you do is falling within those boxes. But then finding a way to also tailor them to what's going on. So stepping into a trend, but making it your own by bringing it into one of those 5 boxes. It's also important to remember that these trends will come and go, but your brand ethos is what's going to stay with you. It will definitely evolve over time. My 5 things now aren't the same 5 things that I started with 5+ years ago, but color, fashion, confidence, those 3 things are still pillars to me now, just like they were then. And it's really important to say no to things that don't fit those 5 boxes. So there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of things that come my way that just don't check any of those boxes. So it's not a fit for me, and it's not a fit for Color Me Courtney. So once you've built this brand and you have this clear identity of what you are, then you can start to identify your audience. You might have a key idea of who your audience is, people who you think are going to resonate with your content, but there also might be this unknown audience that's attracted to you that you didn't even think or know about until they showed up. So keeping in mind that your idea of an audience might grow and change over time. So when we talk about identifying your audience, I think of it in 4 steps. Number 1 is identifying the audience you want to have. Thinking of that person that you think will really resonate with your content and be an engaging part of your audience. Number 2 is understanding that there will be people outside of this dream scope that will be your audience, and accepting them into your audience and finding a way to make your content work for them as well. Number 3 is listening to your audience. So for me, I call my audience or my community my cuties. They're all Color Me Cuties, and so I make sure I listen to them and find out exactly what they want from me from a content point of view. I kind of have an open door of feedback, so they always feel like if something doesn't resonate with them, they can come and tell me why, and I can learn and grow from it. And even if they're not speaking specifically, their actions of what they're engaging on Instagram, what blog posts they're commenting or resharing, can really be valuable information that you can learn from. And the 4th thing, and this is really tied to growing your audience, is looking at benchmarks. So finding those bloggers or those brands or whoever they are that really have that audience that you feel like you could have. Maybe they have a much bigger following, but they have a similar audience to you. So you feel like their followers, their community could become your community. Identifying those brands, bloggers, whoever they may be, and looking at what they're doing. Finding ways to attract that similar audience and scale bigger. Okay. So now you've defined your brand, you've identified your audience, and the next step is to create killer content. So the first thing when you think about content is you want to make sure that you have a clear aesthetic, and that's really going to tie back to that brand that you built in the first section of this. So for me, my brand is really based in color. Obviously, pretty much everything I do is rooted in color. You're never going to see a black and white photo on my feed. Well, I try not to say never, but you're never going to see a black and white photo on my feed. It just doesn't work for me. So finding that aesthetic, whether it's a color palette or a mood or an ambiance or whatever it may be, and making sure your content kind of fits within that theme and within that aesthetic. Now that you have your aesthetic down, you want to define your voice, making sure that your voice is coming through not only visually in the photos or videos that you're putting out there, but also in the caption. I like to go beyond like an emoji. That's not really me. I like to make sure I'm saying something with my captions, but you might be a minimalist. You might be able to get the point across with a cute pun or something like that. Whatever it is, whatever your voice is, you want to make sure that's clear and it's ringing through in all of your content. Aesthetic, check. Voice, check. What's next? Making sure that you bring the value. So for me, I make sure every piece of content I put out has at least 2 points of value in it. Meaning I want to make sure that there are 2 or more really valuable pieces of information in that content. So this goes beyond just like a really beautiful photo, right? I want to make sure that whatever I'm posting provides real value for different people. And the reason I make sure I check 2 different points of value is because I have so many different cuties. Some of my cuties are obsessed with clothes like me and they want to wear the most colorful outfits. I have my goth cuties who exclusively wear black and they never want to wear anything rainbow like me, but they're here for like positivity or for educational learning or all other things. So I make sure that anything I'm putting out checks multiple points of value so that different kind of people who are here for different reasons can find different values in it. All right, so now you've built a brand, you've identified your audience, and you've started to create some killer content. The next step is to turning that audience into a real community that fosters growth and people that are going to continue to support you and you provide support for them as well. It really has to be a two-way street between both parties. So let's talk about building your community. For me, I always look for ways that I can take my online influence offline. It's a little bit hard now that pretty much all interaction is happening online, but I still think there's ways to inspire people to get out and do something. So maybe inspire them to be confident in a swimsuit, inspire them to spend more time with their family, inspire them to try something new, and find these ways to take whatever influence and impact you're having through the phone to something bigger and more outside and actually impactful on these people that you're reaching. So that's always my main focus, and it's a really key part of like building an actual community and not just people who are online double tapping your photos. So for me, that's all tied to finding ways to be impactful. I really want whatever I'm creating to have some kind of positive impact on the people who are receiving it from a phone, from a computer, or however we're connecting. Another key point for me in this is having meaningful conversations and creating dialogue. So one of my best tricks for Instagram specifically is to make sure you're always opening a conversation and starting a dialogue. So you'll see in pretty much all of my Instagram captions, I ask a question. And this gives people something to comment about, so that if they maybe weren't into my outfit or the product I was showing or whatever aesthetic the photo had, they still have something to talk to me about. And it really kind of circles back to that value principle. This also helps a ton with engagement. So if I ask a question, then people will respond to that question. And then I don't even leave it there. I go and I wait till I see their responses come through in the comments, and then I continue to have a conversation even more in the comments. So if someone says, "Hey Courtney, I really love that dress," I don't let it end there. I respond with, "Oh my gosh, thanks so much. This would look great with your red hair. Would you ever wear it?" And that just takes a little bit of extra time of finding the person behind that comment, going to that page, understanding who they are, seeing that they have this gorgeous red hair, and then coming back to give them a compliment to hype them up. So hopefully they leave this page feeling good about themselves and not just inspired to wear a dress. This continual conversation is really what helps build a community. It helps keep people feel more connected to you when they're talking to you, and it just builds a better relationship. Honestly, it's more fun for me. I don't want to post a photo and just watch people give me praise online. I want to give that praise back and have a fun and positive conversation that leaves everyone feeling better at the end of the day. We've made it to the final section of our discussion, and hopefully you've learned something now that we've covered how to build your brand, how to identify your audience, how to create great content, and how to build a community. So now I want to talk to you about growing that community and going beyond that initial community that you started with. I give free tips on Instagram every Tuesday, and every single time I get the same question: how do I get more followers? It seems to be what everyone's obsessed about, what everyone wants from Instagram. And I'm going to start by saying that mentality is the wrong mentality. Instead, you should be asking, how do I do more for the followers I currently have? Because I promise you, those followers, or for me, those cuties that you create a great relationship will do more for you than anyone else. They will champion for you. They will be the reason that your account grows. Because for me, all of my growth right now comes from those cuties being my cheerleaders and cheering me on, posting me in their stories, and promoting me because of the great relationship that we've developed in this community. But I understand that you're probably looking for other ways to grow your community as well, so I will definitely give you those. The first one is thinking about collaboration over competition. This is something you've probably heard before, but let me break it down for you why this is so important. Collaboration can be a great way to help build your account, to help get exposed to new audience, and more importantly, to create something that you wouldn't be able to create on your own. True collaboration comes when two people with diverse values come together to create something that they couldn't have done on their own. For me, I'm not really a cooking blogger. If I wanted to create something really great about meal focus, I would maybe collaborate with someone in that space and find a way to create colorful meals that we can bring to you guys on a YouTube video or whatever platform it might be. So focusing on collaboration in unique ways like that is really a great way to help grow your account. But I will say, when you're reaching out, making sure that you can find people that are kind of on your same playing field. Like if you have 5,000 followers, maybe you don't want to ask someone with 2 million followers, because you want to make sure you're providing them with just as much value as you are receiving from them. Just kind of keeping it even and not looking to take advantage of someone, because again, you're looking to grow together and not like one or the other. Number 2 way to grow your community. Guys, value. Have I said value a lot during this conversation? Probably, because it's so important to me, making sure that everything you do online is providing value. There are so many Instagram accounts, so many blogs, so many YouTubes, whatever. But the key thing that can set you apart is the unique value you bring. You're the only you. Find a way to optimize on that and share your unique value with your community. They'll continue to come back and they'll continue to share your content. If you can create shareable content, it will do so much for you on a growth POV. So that's where it goes beyond a pretty photo. Yes, you probably look gorgeous in front of that sunset, but is there a way that you could provide something that maybe has a little bit more value for a lot of people so that they can share it and promote you more, and then in turn your account grows? Maybe that's the way to go. Last part that I'm going to talk about in regards to growing your audience is being active but not desperate. You want to make sure that you're talking to other cuties, you're talking to potential cuties, or for you guys, potential audience members, without being desperate. We've all seen those accounts that are like, follow me, follow me. Ooh, not the play. I never want to follow those accounts. I'm sure you guys get sick of seeing that. I would rather follow someone not because they asked me to, but because I wanted to, because I found them for whatever reason. So one key thing that I did when I was really working on growing my account is I would go look at those benchmark accounts. Those are things that we talked about earlier when we were talking about identifying your audience. I would look at those benchmark accounts and I would be like, oh, these are the people who are engaging on these accounts. Let me respond to some of their comments. Let me go and engage on some of those pages in hopes that they would see my account, come to my page, and because my content structure and my value structure were already there, plus because I had a clear aesthetic, those people that I brought to my page would want to follow and be a part of my community because they saw what I already built. You can't start attracting an audience unless you've done the work, unless you've built the brand, unless you have the aesthetic, unless you have a clear voice and you're bringing continual value. People aren't going to come unless it's already set up. So work to identify that first. Build the foundation, and then you can start to go out and attracting new people to come back and be a part of your awesome community. Woo! We did it! We've covered it all. I've told you everything from how to build a brand, how to identify your audience, how to create great content, how to build your community, and then how to grow your community outside of what you've already built. I hope this helped. I hope you learned something, or were at the very least inspired to get out there and create something awesome on the internet, because I know you can. If you want to see more from me, you can find me at Color Me Courtney pretty much anywhere. I also have a second Instagram that's pop culture focused called Color Me Magic that I built just in the last year and grew it from 0 to 100,000 followers. So I've kind of been able to test out new strategies there that I didn't necessarily get to do in the beginning with Color Me Courtney, because that was like 5 years ago. Anyway, I hope I see you somewhere on the internet, and I will make sure to put a question box in my story so you can come and hang out and ask me any additional questions, and I would love to answer them for you. Oh, and major thanks to LaterCon for having me here. I'm so honored. Thank you so much, and thanks for all the work you're doing to inspire the next generation of creators. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!